Raman looked at the food in his lunch box and made a face. Idli and chutney and idli again, he said to his friend Veem. Veem gave his own lunch a critical look and frowned. You think that's bad, he said. I have got bread and jam again. It's the third time this week. They pushed the food aside. We can get something at the burger place after school, Raman said. They concentrated on studying for their English test instead of eating. English was next period, and Mr. Frank had a reputation for giving difficult tests. When the bell rang, they dropped their uneaten lunches into the garbage. Mr. Frank was standing nearby. Not hungry, guys? He asked. They shook their heads and hurried off to class. When the test was over, there were still 10 minutes left in the period. Mr. Frank stood at the front of the class. Before you leave today, he said, leaning against the desk, I'd like to share an old African folktale with you. I think you'll find this one interesting. It's called, Why the Sky is Far Away. Long ago the sky was close to the earth. Men and women did not have to plant their own food. Instead, when they were hungry, they just reached up and broke off a piece of the sky to eat. Sometimes the sky tasted like ripe bananas. Other times it tasted like roasted potatoes. The sky was always delicious. People spent their time making beautiful cloth. They painted beautiful pictures and sang songs at night. The Grand King, Oba, had a wonderful palace. His servants made beautiful shapes out of pieces of sky. Many people in the kingdom did not use the gift of the sky wisely. When they took more than they could eat, the sky became angry. Some people threw the extra pieces into the garbage. Early one morning the angry sky turned dark. Black clouds hung over the land and a great sky voice said to all the people, You are wasting my gift of food. Do not take more than you can eat. I don't want to see pieces of me in the garbage anymore or I will take my gift away. The king and the people trembled with fear. King Oba said, Let's be careful about how much food we take. For a long time, all the people were careful. But one man named Adami wasn't careful. At festival time, he took so many delicious pieces of sky that he couldn't eat them all. He knew he must not throw them away. He tried to give the pieces to his wife. Here, wife, Adami said. You eat the rest. I can't, Adami's wife said. I'm too full. Adami asked all his children to help him eat the delicious pieces of sky, but the children couldn't eat one more bite. So Adami decided to try to hide the pieces at the bottom of the garbage pile. Suddenly, the sky became angry and the clouds turned black. You have wasted my gift of food again, yelled the sky. This time I will go away so you cannot waste me anymore. All of the people cried, What will we eat? We might starve. The sky said, You will have to learn how to plant crops in the ground and hunt in the forests. If you work hard, you may learn not to waste the gifts of nature. Everyone watched as the sky sailed away. From that time on, they worked hard to grow their food and cook their meals. They always tried to remember not to waste the gifts of nature. The bell rang for the next period. That's the end, Mr. Frank said, smiling. He looked at Raman and Veem. What did you think of the story? He asked. They slouched in their chairs and looked apologetic. "We get the message," they said, smiling. "No more lunches in the garbage." Yusuf was a sheikh. He was sitting at the door of his tent in the desert. It was night. Nothing was visible in the desert. The only light was the light that came from the stars in the sky. They were twinkling in the sky. The sheikh was sad at heart. He had been secretly weeping for many days and nights. His eldest son had been killed. Suddenly, a stranger came running to the tent. He fell at the feet of Yusuf. He said, "O chief, save me. My enemies are coming after me. They want to kill me. I am starving. I cannot run any more. All men call you good. Save me. O chief, let me stay in your tent for one night." Yusuf asked the stranger to enter his tent. He said, "You are a stranger, but you are welcome. You can share with me my food and shelter. God has given them to me. God is our Father. He has built this earth for us. The sky protects us all. God gives us food and shelter. I have never refused to grant anyone a favor. Therefore come into my tent as my guest. Share with me my food. No one will harm you." The stranger entered. Yusuf embraced him as his honored guest. After taking food, the stranger lay down to sleep. The next day, the sun had not risen up. The desert was calm and still. Yusuf, gently, woke up the stranger. He gave the stranger a bag of gold. He said, "My friend, I hope you had a good sleep. The food must have given you some strength. Now you must escape from your enemies before the sun rises. I have kept my best horse ready for you. Fly before your enemies come." The stranger got up. He received the bag of gold from Yusuf. He looked at Yusuf for some moments. There was some struggle going on in his mind. Then suddenly his face became brighter. He fell at the feet of Yusuf. Then he said, "O good and noble chief! You had been so kind to me. You gave me food and shelter. You had saved my life. But I had been so bad. I killed your son. I am Abraham. Now kill me. I am ready for punishment and revenge from you." The sheikh was shocked. He was motionless. He was struggling between revenge and forgiveness in his mind. Should he take revenge? Should he return evil for evil? Or should he return good for evil? Finally, he put his hand into his pocket. He drew out more gold. He gave it to Abraham. Then he said, "Here is gold 3 times more. Take this and go away. I will not kill you. You have been noble enough to confess. How can I be less noble to refuse to forgive you?" The thought of revenge had been burning in my mind. Go away and take the thought of revenge from me. I must give up the thought of revenge. Only then my son will sleep in peace. You have been my guest. I cannot kill my guest. May God forgive both of us, me for keeping revenge in my thought and you for murdering my son, said the sheikh, and he went off to pray God.